Who's our next, Roberto?
Our next scary is from one of the scariest eras of football, where they didn't care if they were injured.
No.
They didn't have doctors to treat their broken ankles
Zero.
or broken legs. They just threw them back out there.
Yeah.
This was the scariest times in the NFL.
Pretty much.
Concussions didn't matter. That means if you had stars, it meant that you were extra tough. And this guy is in that era. And he was one of the scariest ones in that era.
Fucking scary.
And I'm getting scared.
The dude looks scary.
He
Who
looks
we got?
scary.
Who do we got?
He looks like Halloween. We got Jack Lambert, ladies and gentlemen.
OMG.
Played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jack Harold Lambert.
Jack Lambert, Golden Flash. What's AI got to say about old Jack? Start the clock now.
All right. Hit that clock. Jack Lambert. Jack Lambert was an intimidating and fierce linebacker, known for his aggressive playing style and toothless snarl.
No teeth.
Off the field, he was a private person who preferred a quiet life, often retreating to his farm. Lambert had a profound impact on the Pittsburgh Steelers, leading them to 4 Super Bowl victories in the 1970s with our guy,
Terry Bradshaw.
the original TB12.
Terry.
Oh, good old Terry Bradshaw.
Uncle Terry.
He was a 9-time Pro Bowler and an 8-time All-Pro, earning the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award in 1976. Notably, he recorded 28 career interceptions and was a key figure in the Steelers' dominant defense. You want to know what I loved about Jack Lambert? He wasn't the traditional size of a linebacker, especially back in the heyday. He was, once again, a guy from Kent State University.
Go Flashes.
Was he drafted into the NFL?
Yeah.
He was drafted.
He was a 4th rounder.
I know that he had, not the ideal.
46 overall.
46
second
overall.
rounder.
He didn't have the ideal size going into the NFL as well. I think he was 6'4", about 210 pounds coming out of Kent State. And they wanted to put some bulk on him. So he didn't really play, at the size of all these other linebackers. And in the NFL at the time, I think he played about at 220? 230. So 6'4", a linebacker at 6'4", that's kind of unheard of. Usually they're shorter, more stockier, can fill the hole, can take on a lineman, can take on a fullback, can go side to side with the agilities. But this guy, no, he was different. But, that kind of was an advantage for him. Watching tape on him, I feel like he could see over the lineman because he was 6'4". He could see what was developing in the backfield. And when you can have that type of advantage and you can see what's going on in the backfield, you can see that short running back, where he's going, where he's angling. That's an advantage. And Jack Lambert used that on the defensive side of the ball, making tackles. It was just ridiculous watching him play.
What if you were lined up at tight end and Jack's the middle linebacker right here, and he looked at you and with his no teeth, and he said, "Hey, Gronk, I'm going to eat your lunch." What would you do?
I'd probably be wide open because I'm going to run full freaking speed away from him. I'm running full speed. But at the same time, those are the guys that are hard to get open versus, because I'm 6'6". That's my advantage, is my height and my size. But when you're 6'4", and yeah, he was smaller than everyone, but dude.
Long and lanky.
Yeah, long and lanky, but he had
Leverage
that
strength.
hit stick. It's kind of like a type of strength that is kind of not taught, that some type of strength where you don't go in the weight room to get that.
That's that leverage strength.
Yes, he's 6'4",
whippy strength.
Just skinnier, more athletic than these other linebackers and other players in the NFL. But he had that that pop. He had a pop in him. And when you have that pop and that toughness, I mean, it doesn't matter what size you are. You can knock down anyone, even if they're 50 pounds bigger than you.
He's also like an intimidation factor. You seen the Super Bowl against the Cowboys, where the kicker missed the fucking kick on the Steelers, and the Cowboy guy was heckling him, and fucking Jack Lambert grabbed him by the back of his thing and threw his ass down and said, "Hey, boy, shut the fuck up." Like that, he's crazy. I think the ref was right there, was too scared to throw a damn penalty. Like, that's how scary of a guy he was. I mean, he's not like a big guy.
He had a wide receiver built. He had long, skinny legs.
Instinctive as fuck.
Yes.
You throw on his highlights. Yeah, he would blow up the the 1 yard, or he'd blow up the goal line play or the short yardage play. But you saw him drop, and he would always make these crazy. He had a lot of interceptions too, I think. Like, he had a bunch. Grew up a Browns fan, played for the Steelers.
Big hitter.
He was
Trash talker that backed it up.
probably one of the toughest guys on one of the toughest so-called defenses of all time. That steel curtain. You know, you had Mean Joe Green. You had all these Jack Ham. And then you have fucking Lambert over there who
And this
a lot
guy
of these guys are scared of him.
This guy had no front teeth.
No front teeth.
Front teeth.
He looked like a hockey player.
He was labeled as the scariest looking player in the NFL, on top of being that scary on the field.
He's also
That's a double whammy. What about his nicknames?
No, Jack Splat.
Jack
Captain
Splat.
Jack. Dracula
That
and
was-
Cleats.
He
That's
was
actually tight
Dracula
because he
and
has no
Cleats.
teeth.
He kind of looks like a jack-o'-lantern.
He kind of looks like a jack-o'-lantern.
He does in some pictures, some way. And then look at the helmet that he's wearing.
With
the
the
face
bar.
mask, with the bar.
You got
Makes
the
him look-
bar right down
makes
the
him
middle.
look even scarier.
The neck roll. You saw him with the patent 1970s freaking hand and arm pads. You just see a guy like him giving a freaking clothesline to a quarterback and like spitting on him afterwards. Like, that's the kind of guy Jack Lambert was. He's what did it say? JT Thomas?
Yeah.
He's so mean he hates himself. You got to play like that.
What I love about Jack Lambert, too, is that he had a quote before. It was something along the line of that he just never used football as a popularity contest, you know? He looked at it as it was his job.
Fucking
And you got to appreciate those guys. You love those guys in the locker room because they were all business. And Jack was business at all times. And he didn't care about, who was watching him, how popular he was. He cared about getting the job fucking done. And that's what he did.
Who's the modern day Jack Lambert?
Man, that's a tough question because there's really no linebackers that are 6'4" in the NFL.
Not any middles.
No. Especially not the
It
middle linebackers.
probably would have
Some
been
outside linebackers.
It would have been
possibly.
like Urlacher back in the day.
Oh, yeah, Urlacher.
Because Urlacher was like a safety.
Yes.
That turned
Urlacher's
into a safety.
A good
or a
option
linebacker
right there. Currently, I'm not really sure anyone really compares to Jack Lambert.
It's a different
in
game.
the current NFL.
He also, I went to Kent and I didn't even hear any stories about him really. Like he's kind of like an off the radar type guy. I heard he's like in some country town, probably in Ohio, on his farm. I think he's got bomb shelters or anything. If anyone in the Jack Lambert camp hears this, can we get an update on him? We would love to, as a former Flash and a guy that went to the same university as him that likes him. We want to know if he's okay.
I think he is okay. Like I said, he just cared about doing his job. He didn't care about the popularity. And he's kind of like that. When was the last time he was seen in the football world? I think it was when the original Steelers stadium closed down before they were going to build their
The new one, Three Rivers.
The new one, yeah. What was it, Three River Stadium, right? Didn't he go to that last game or something?
Did he?
Was that the last time he was seen? Yeah,
That was-
2000 was the last time he was seen.
That's
in the
24
football
years ago. I wonder what he thinks about all this technology. He looks like a guy for a fact that will fucking, if you're on his phone, if you're on a phone around him, I think he might shoot the phone.
Yeah, he's still using a pager.
No, I don't even think he has a pager. I think
Just
he's
a
got
pager.
landline.
Just a pager.
He's got landline, bro. He's got cord still that with like a 30-foot cord so he could take a goddamn call away from his wife like 2 rooms down and has to shut the door and use it and put the cord under the door gap so he could have some privacy. That's the kind of guy. He's a scary.
That is the kind of guy he is.
Like,
I got a question.
how do you
Jules.
think?
Would you ever go off the grid?
Would I ever go off the grid?
Jack Lambert hasn't been seen for 24 years.
Actually, I would. If I had enough means to go off the grid, I would love to go off the grid.
You got plenty of means.
Nah, I got kid. You can't go off
Yeah.
grid if you have a kid. Like if it was just me and Rock, I'd go off of the dusty trail, but I can't.
Just a deserted island.
I don't know. I'd
Infinity
take
amounts of food and water.
some little town in Mexico.
Would you do it? Would you go off the grid? Can you see yourself going off the grid?
I would love to go out. If, like I said,
I
if
want like that.
huh?
We got dudes on dudes.
Yeah.
Why would you go off the grid on me?
Wouldn't it be cool to have a Mai Tai and like a little umbrella?
Can we just do dudes on dudes off the grid?
We We wouldn't be off the grid then.
We'd be real dudes on dudes then.
How?
Just you and I.
Dude on
island.
dude?
Yeah.
No. How do you think he'd play in today's football? I think he'd be pretty good.
Yeah, he'd be really good, especially, because it seemed like he was very athletic as well, could cover pretty well. So the way that, we're throwing the football now in this era, I feel like he's a guy that can drop back in the middle of the field, and especially in zone coverages. I think he would have a couple interceptions a year, no doubt about that. And just his mentality that he brings in the run game, I feel like some defenses are missing that type of mentality too. Like those guys that play
willing
to go in and just take a fullback,
playing all downs,
one-on-one,
not
right
just
in the
third
gap,
downs,
heads up, all downs, and just being able to just give up your body, sacrifice yourself. So those players, Ray Lewis, obviously, Jack Lambert, another one of those. So what about John Elway? Remember when John Elway faced Jack Lambert?
Yeah, didn't he?
What happened?
He said, just let me out of here. I'll be an accountant.
Yeah. You want to know why? You want to know what else happened?
What happened?
He did say that after the game, but you want to know what else happened?
What happened?
He lined up under the right guard.
That's how scared he was.
He was that scared and nervous.
I mean, that was
He freaking went under the right guard.
What year was that?
Imagine that.
83. So Lambert was still there. Lambert played, 12 years? This was a young John Elway, probably young buck out of Stanford.
1 for 8, 14 yards that game.
1 for 8.
We're talking John Elway. 1 for 8, 14 yards.
Jeez.
When he faced the scariest defender.
The steel curtain.
NFL
it wasn't just him. He had to steal
he did.
Bean Joe Green, Ham, LC Greenwood, all those boys. I mean, and he was the fucking flag carrier for that scary-ass defense. Time. What kind of dude is Jack Lambert?
Jack Lambert, a stud. He was a stud, but
not Kent State.
But not Kent State. And not when you're that
we ain't
scary.
Studs out of Kent State.
And when you're that scary, you're technically not a stud.
He's got the athleticism. He's got the football IQ. But he always had the is he too small in his category. So that takes him out of the stud.
And then that takes him out of the freak category as well.
Yeah, but he could be a freak because he's like a regular lanky dude that played like he was 280.
And he had a hit stick.
He had a hit stick, and he had no teeth.
They had no teeth.
He could be a whiz because he was so fucking intelligent. He was calling out plays, and I was watching all his. You could tell he knew the game better than a lot of the other guys he was playing against was knowing. Was he a dude's dude? I probably don't know. I heard a snake story where he almost killed a guy for putting a fake snake in his room. Like, I don't think he's a dude's dude. He's not a guy that you want to fuck with or pull a prank on. He might, pull out his 22 and kill you.
He looks like he writes manifestos.
Yes. He's got a list.
Yeah.
He's got a list.
Yeah. So, no, don't pull pranks on him.
You know what? I think he's a dog. He's just a dog.
He is a dog.
He's relentless.
Yes.
He's motivated. He's physically and mentally tough. Has exceeded everything that everyone thought he couldn't do at the highest level. Jack Lambert is a dude of a dog.
And dogs don't
of a
care about getting the credit.
No.
They just want to feel the love, and they just want to do their job. And when they do their job, they feel the love.
That's it. That was poetic. That was fucking poetic, Rob. Where did you learn
I have a dog. That's why. I have a dog.
You have a dog?
Does not care about his popularity. He just cares about doing what he needs to do to protect myself, protect Camille, and protect the house. And then he feels like he's accomplished. And then he snuggles into me, and we share love.
That's just dogs loving dogs. He's a dog. Stamp it.
Dog.